Welcome to Bearcat Update. I'm your host, Jenny James. This past week, Northwest Missouri State had the special privilege of hosting the NCAA Division II Central Regional Tournament. 8 teams from Oklahoma to Minnesota traveled to Maryville for a chance to compete for a NCAA basketball championship. Northwest Athletics had a lot of work to do. In a short amount of time, our reporter Maria Babcock sat down with a few members of the athletic department to discuss the preparation for the tournament.
Northwest Missouri State had the opportunity to host a regional tournament for D2 men's basketball. Although it's a great opportunity for the basketball team, it also brings several opportunities for the school and the community. Athletic Director Mel Churchma tells us more about this big event.
The regional tournament is just an unbelievable experience. It's great for our fans. It just is so good for our basketball program, and obviously, good for the community. We bring a lot of people here. We have 7 other teams that come in. The revenue that brings in to the city of Maryville and the surrounding community is great. Most important, it's a great opportunity for our basketball team, for our men's team to play at home and in a great atmosphere and hopefully win 3 games and move on to the national tournament.
With 7 other teams coming to Maryville, this is an all-hands-on-deck event. Before teams can play, there's a lot of prep work to be done.
Well, there's a lot of preparation. It helps us that last year was our first year, and we've been to a few regionals in the previous years, and so we knew kind of what we were getting into. Our administrative staff, our athletic administrative staff are all very involved, and it just takes a lot of work, but it's all worth it.
In order to prepare for the event, several stickers, posters, and banners need to be made. Northwest graphic designer Wes Rockwood talks about the process of getting the arena ready.
So we did a lot of prep work the week before. So last week, Thursday, Friday, when we anticipated that we probably would host, we got a lot of files put together, and then Sunday, when the actual selection show was, I came in at about 9:30 and put all the final stuff, put the right teams in, because we had 10 or so teams that we thought would make it, put that all together, sent most of the vinyl banners, the bigger stuff, off on Sunday night, and then Monday morning, put together all of the little stuff, some directional stuff, and now we're setting it all in.
It's a lot of work to get this event to run smoothly, but it pays off in the end with all the benefits it brings to the school and community.
Well, the revenue generated for the community is great. You think of all the people that come from all those 7 different schools that come in here, and some of them stay in our community. Our hotels are all booked. The restaurants, the food places get a lot of business, and it creates a lot of revenue, generates a lot of revenue for this area.
The tournament begins on Saturday, March 10th, and will run until Tuesday, March 13th. The regional winner will advance to the quarterfinals in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Reporting for Bearcat Update, I'm Maria Babcock.
Thanks, Maria. Northwest also played host to a couple other athletic events this weekend. Northwest baseball team hosted their first home series of the season against MIAA rival Northeastern State. But earlier in the week, the team traveled down to Liberty, Missouri for one game against William Jewell. Northwest fell in that one 5-6, pushing their record to 500 at 8-8. Jacob Wagner received a loss. His record moves to 1-1 on the year. Mondo Gutierrez led the Cats going 4-4 with a double and 2 RBIs. Friday, a solid Northeastern State came into town. Coming into this weekend series, Northeastern State sat at 10-7 on the year, and we were there to catch the highlights. Northwest opens the first home series against Northeastern State. Let's jump to the 3rd inning. Northwest already up 2-0. Matt Shingles sends a fly ball out to right field and brings in Luke Hausman for his 10th RBI of the season, making it a 3-score lead. Next batter, Kevin Hanslick comes on home on a throwing error, giving the Bearcats a 4-0 lead. Top of the 5th, the Riverhawks are not done yet. Jackson Phipps singles to right. Derek Shedding scores on the play, putting the road team on the board. But Joseph Hippis would be too strong on the mound, going 7 2/3 with 6 strikeouts, as Northwest hangs on to win Game 1 4-1. Northwest picked up the W 4-1. Joseph Hippis went 7 2/3, striking out 6. The ace picked up his 4th win of the season and now sits at 4-1. Hippis leads the MIAA in both wins and strikeouts. In the second game of the day, the Cats picked up another win, 3-1. Luke Hessman picked up 2 RBIs. Sunday, the team was not able to complete the sweep. Falling 3-2, Mondo Gutierrez picked up 1 of the 2 RBIs. Gutierrez has had a hot last couple of games. In his last 5 games, his bat has caught fire. He's hitting .500, has 10 RBIs and 3 doubles with only 3 strikeouts. In his previous 14 games, he was hitting a measly .200 with only 3 RBIs and 0 doubles, striking out 11 times. The baseball team will be back in action this week against William Jewell at home on Wednesday. Then they take a 7-game road trip starting Saturday with a 3-game series in St. Charles, Missouri against Lindenwood University. We're going to take a quick break, but stick around. You're watching Bearcat Update on KNWT Channel 8. Welcome back to Bearcat Update. I'm Jenny James. Earlier in the show, we talked about how the athletic department was preparing to host such a big tournament this weekend, but athletics was not the only team preparing for the tourney. The basketball team was also hard at work getting ready for the games. Our reporter Nolan Brooks takes us inside and shows us how their basketball team prepares. Nolan?
It's March Madness time here in Maryville, and with the Bearcats heading into the national tournament as a #1 seed, I talked to Coach Meyer and Joey Withus to find out how they're going to approach the tournament.
Yeah, no, it'll be the same. It's kind of how we prepare every game. You know, we don't want to give our guys too much information where they're thinking too much. We want to get as much information on a team as possible and then simplify it in our scouting report where guys are going out there. They're not having to think. They can just react and play. Tendencies, you know, whether a guy's going to drive right, a guy's going to drive left. Is he a post scorer? Shooter versus non-shooter, you know, do we need to trail screens, you know, just little tendencies. And our guys do a great job of really focusing on that on the scouting report and carrying it over to the game.
No matter who the opposing team is, Withus knows that how they approach the game never changes.
It'll be the same mindset. We're just going to focus and, you know, just do the things that we do. We don't want to, you know, reinvent the wheel, as Coach Mack would say. We just got to focus, clean some things up, and we'll be ready to go.
Coach Meyer knows that getting to prepare at home in their own stadium will help them throughout the tournament.
Yeah, hopefully it makes us play even better. You know, we've had that target all year, and you know, I know Coach McCollum's talked a lot about being hungry and playing at that high level. Hopefully, now that it's, you know, tournament time, that we take it to another level. But, you know, our goal was to host. Obviously, we did it last year, and it was huge, playing at home in front of our crowd, sleeping in our own beds, you know, shooting our own gym is very important. And you know, you saw last year, the first round game, we kind of had some jitters and we're a little tight. So hopefully this year we can just come out and play loose and have some fun and play Bearcat basketball.
With tournament time upon us, the Bearcats look to bring home another national title to the trophy case. For Bearcat Update, I'm Nolan Brooks.
Thanks, Nolan. Saturday, the team opened up the tournament against Minnesota State University. We were there to catch all of the highlights. Early in the game, the Mavericks came out hot. Cameron Kirksey gives it to Kevin Krager. Krager drives and lays it over the front of the rim. Mavericks go on a 13-4 run to start the game. Later in the first half, Carlos Anderson off the ball screen. Step back, gets a friendly bounce. The deep 2 is good. Minnesota State still up. Bearcats trying to make a run of their own. Brett Doherty pounding in the post, finds a wide open Joey Withus. Withus against his former team. That 3 ball is good. Again, Withus this time, he takes it to the rack, finishes through the contact. Bearcats go into locker room only trailing by 1. But in the second half, all Mavericks. Cole Harper on the drive kicks out to Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown might not be good at kicking footballs, but he can sure hit threes. The Bearcats fall in a stunning upset 60-50. It was one of only 2 #1 seeds to fall in the first round of the tournament. Chris Endow led the Bearcat scorers with 21 points, pulling down 13 rebounds. Joey Withus dropped in 19 points and picked up 3 steals. The Cats lived and died with the 3 this year. Saturday they died, shooting 23% from behind the arch. After the game, Coach McCollum talked about his team's performance from the 3-point line.
Yeah, I did, because they were kick-out threes, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I'd have to go back and watch the film. I mean, we probably took, I would say, of the threes that we took in the first half, we probably took too many. But of all, what did we take, 20, something like that? I would say about 3 were pretty bad looks, just bad shots. I'd say the rest were paint, catch it in the paint, pass it out, extra pass, wide open three. I mean, Ryan Welty's 70% last year, and this year he's shooting 50%. Chris is 50%. Joey's 40-some%. Like, zones for us are easy. For some reason tonight they weren't. And that's where, that's an excuse, but he's a part of our team. That's where, Justin makes a big difference, because he would probably hit a few of those shots. Like, Chris obviously stepped up and hit his just because he's been in those big moments. He knows he can just step up and hit them. So you add another piece to that, and then it becomes that much easier.
This year, the Bearcats lose seniors Brett Doherty, Xavier Kurth, Chris Ibuendow, and Justin Pitts. But there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Transfer stud Joey Wittis returns, and the sophomore shooting tandem of Ryan Welty and Ryan Hawkins will step into bigger roles. The Bearcat basketball team will be back next year, ready to make some noise in the tournament. We are going to take another break, but stick around. We have more to come. You're watching Bearcat Update on KNWT Channel 8. Welcome back to Bearcat Update. I'm Jenny James. Now it's time for Coach's Corner, and we are joined by the Kansas City native track star who also happens to be one of my roommates and best friends, and just a great person, Heba Magoob. Heba, thanks for joining us today.
Hi.
So you're from Kansas City, went to Oak Park. What's it been like running track up here and just being at Northwest?
Well, running track at Northwest, like at the college level, is a lot different than running track back at home in Kansas City, high school level. Just like the performance is different, the travel is different, and all that mixed in there.
How is the training, would you say? How is that side of it different?
In high school, training wasn't as rigorous. We didn't have any like structure. We didn't do a lot of like outside the track training, but when we came to college, we lift weights now, we run hills, we run stairs, things that aren't on the track, as when in high school we ran a lot on the track.
So you were an MIAA Scholar Athlete. You were named MIAA Athlete of the Week a few weeks ago when you ran a 55.63 in the 400, and that put you at the 6th fastest in the NCAA and 2nd fastest in Northwest history. So what has that meant to you?
Well, after running that time, I was really shocked because I didn't think I could do it at first. But after running it, I was like, oh, wow. I didn't really feel any different than when I used to run. So, I mean, it just meant to me, like, that, I can do that. And my body can do that, whereas before, when I didn't think I can do that, I didn't think I could run that fast just because I was like, oh, I'm not that fast. But realizing that I am that fast just made me want to run even faster and faster and see what I can do and cannot do.
So I know it's kind of indoor season just ended and you're about to start outdoor, but how has this year been different than last year for you?
My indoor season last year was more of like an experiment. It was my first indoor season ever, like running track indoor, and it was really like experimental. So like going to a 160 track, going to a 200 track, 300 track, even like a bank track. It was all different. Every meet was a little like experiment. It was to see what I can do on the track and how it felt and all of that. But then this year I kind of knew going into every meet how I can run that track. I know the feel for it, so I go in there and I just compete, not worried about all the external things.
So you qualified for the Indoor National Championships, and that's where you were at this previous weekend. And just being a sophomore, getting to that level, I mean, that's a pretty big accomplishment alone. So how does that make you feel?
It makes me feel proud. I was really excited to go, but I was also very nervous, So, I mean, going there, it made me I was shaking the whole time I was there. I was like, oh my God, I'm in front of all these people, all of the best athletes in our nation at D2, and it was really cool to see everybody competing at different, that high of a level, and it was just really cool.
So you competed in the 400, you took 15th, maybe not as well as you wanted to do, but you're still there. It's still an amazing opportunity that you even got there, and so now you're gearing up for outdoor. So what would you say your goals or expectations are going into outdoor?
My expectations are actually really high for outdoor just because I've run outdoor a lot, like all throughout high school. And then my last year running outdoor was, it was still a little like, I didn't really like it too much just because I was really tired going into outdoor just because we had the long indoor season. But going into outdoor now, I feel more refreshed because we took a little bit of weeks just to do some like light workouts just to get us prepared for nationals. But now, like going there, I'm super excited to go run on a track to see what I can run, like especially the 400, just because I ran like a really fast time indoor. And running outdoor, you most likely run a faster time than you run indoor just because you're more used to it. And it's like, it's a 400 track, so you're not on a 300 track where you have to run like 1.5 laps. You're not on a 200 track where you have to run 2 laps or anything like that.
So what would you say are the main differences between indoor and outdoor?
The main difference would be, well, there's two. One thing is weather, because we can't control the outdoor weather, but we can control inside. And then the next thing is the tracks. So most tracks outdoor are exactly the same. They're 400 track all the way around. But then indoor, we have different tracks depending on where you go.
What about like training wise? Is it pretty similar or is it a lot different?
Oh, it's a lot different, I would say. Well, since us Northwest, we don't have a big of a track. We have a 160 track. So our indoor training was more speed work. It was shorter things where when we go back outside, we're going to be doing more longer things like more 400s, more 300s rather than 150s or 120s, you know.
So what would you say you need to do to make it to now the outdoor national championships?
I think, well, time-wise, I need to hit like a low 54 just to make it to nationals. But training-wise, I feel like I need to get back in the weight room because I haven't been in the weight room for a while. We need to work more on like endurance things just because we've worked on a lot of speed and I feel like my endurance is going away slowly. But yeah, those are 2 main things I want to focus on.
Well, Heba, thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to have, you on the show, especially you being my roommate and one of my best friends. It's so great to see you doing amazing things, and I hope that you can just go out and kill it during outdoor season. I'm sure you will. So thank you so much for joining us, and we're going to take a quick break, but stick around. We'll be back on KNWT Channel 8. Welcome back to Bearcat Update. I'm Jenny James. Sticking with the Northwest track and field theme from before the break, another track athlete took a different path than most to Maryville. Our reporter Joanne Bush sat down with Nerea Yangis and talked about how she is adjusting to track in the States.
Nerea is a track and field athlete here at Northwest. She runs the 400 hurdles, but she comes all the way from Spain.
Like a lot of people in my team in Spain, they were talking about how America was like a good experience to come here. So when I been second in the Spanish championship, they called me to come here.
Once Nerea got second at the Spanish championship games, Coach Lorick found really interest into her, but she wasn't just going to go to any school.
Finding like a good university to come here, and I didn't look for the study and the things. I only look for a good team, good teammates, and a good group for the 400 hurdles. And Coach Lorick was super interested in me because he thinks that I can improve a lot in my running workouts.
Nerea says the country is different, but the workouts are also different as well.
Back home, we never have like 6 a.m. workouts. That's super new for me. And when I come here, and coach told me that, yeah, tomorrow we have 6 practice. I was like, okay. I told Maya like, yeah, we have like 6 p.m. And like all the freshman guys were like, no, we have to come in the morning. And Maya and me were like, wow, at 6 a.m. So that was super bad for me the first week.
The workouts are different, but Nerea adjusted very good as she competed in all the track meets for her first indoor season.
Thanks, Joanne. The Northwest softball team was on a road trip this weekend. Friday, the team had a doubleheader in Jefferson City against Lincoln University. The team took both games. They won the first 9-1 and the second 11-1. Saturday, the team traveled to Lindenwood. The first game in St. Charles wasn't much closer. The Cats blew past the Lions 9-2, but in the second, the Bats cooled off as Northwest fell 5-7. That's all the time we have, but first, it's time for my top 3. The Bearcat baseball team will play Wednesday at home against William Jewell. The Bearcat softball team will play this weekend in St. Joe against a variety of teams. And the men's and women's tennis teams will be at Ouachita Baptist Friday. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Bearcat Update. You can follow us on Twitter at BearcatUpdate_8 or watch all of our previous episodes on YouTube at KNWT8. Thanks for watching and have a great night. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Bearcat Update. You can catch last week's episode over here and all of our previous episodes down here. Check it out.